Hello and welcome back to the virtual classroom. I'm your host, Dr. Olmsted, and today's topic is a how-to video on how to properly format and how to succeed on the synthesis essay. Now, in this semester, you'll be doing two synthesis essays. It'll be section assignment 2 and section assignment 4. What would normally be termed like a midterm and the final exam. But in terms of this, think of this as just another type of essay to write, much like you did for section assignment 1 and you will do for section assignment 3. So this is an essay exam, also known as a section assignment. And we call it a synthesis essay as it relies upon you to synthesize, that is, put together and connect some of the bigger ideas that we've discussed in this course thus far. For this, you will be given a prompt. In fact, you'll be given two prompts. And it's very similar to the type of prompt you received for section assignment 1, with one important change. This time, instead of having external readings to do in the form of primary source documents, instead, I have given you a list of 5 key terms that we have discussed in the course of this class thus far. They were the key terms that were on the front slide, the first slide of every lecture. And you need to use those key terms, which means use your notes, as your evidence. So rather than going and reading documents and getting direct quotes from those primary source documents, this time instead, this is all about secondary sources. This is about using your notes and can you put together some of the larger ideas and themes by connecting these ideas together in the form of an essay. What you will need to be able to do is to define these terms very clearly, very succinctly, but very detailed. And in addition to that, connect the ideas to each other and to their larger historical significance, i.e., the larger essay, your thesis statement. So let's take a look at what I'm talking about here. So here's an example prompt. Now this is from 1301, but the format is always the same, whether it's for section assignment 2, section assignment 4, 1301, 1302, the format is always the same. I will give you a prompt. So here are the directions. This is an essay section assignment, but different from your primary source ones. When approaching the synthesis essay, you must clearly articulate and expound on one large theme of U.S. history. I will provide key terms that will be part of the prompt. You will need to explain how each of the key terms helps to develop your argument and your essay. You need to make sure you include number 1, introduction paragraph that includes context and a thesis, same as the first essay. Make sure that you have the introduction paragraph that addresses the prompt. Again, make sure it answers that prompt question, the main question. You must then have at least 1 paragraph per key term. I've already said you will have 5 key terms listed. You must do all 5, which means you must have 5 body paragraphs. So introduction paragraph plus 5 body paragraphs plus a conclusion means you need 7 paragraphs. Your essay must address each of the required terms and necessitates a full paragraph of detailed information per key term. Yet I know I'm repeating myself. That's because every semester I see students who don't do this. They give me a 1 or 2 sentence paragraph. That's not a paragraph. 6 to 8 sentences. Or they combine 2 key terms in the same paragraph. No. 1 paragraph per key term. Remember, clarity and detail are your best friends. You can never provide too much detail. You have time. You have more than a week to do this assignment. And since this is not given in class, you have more than a full week to write this. I expect answers that reflect your preparation and understanding of the overall material, not answers you thought up 2 hours on Sunday night before the due date. Now, when discussing the key terms, be sure to explain in as many details as possible what the term is or who it is, when it happened, give me a date, Not just in the late 18th, no, give me specifics. Don't say in the mid 17th century. No, tell me in the 1650s. Or if it's something like, say, the Navigation Acts, where there are specific dates, give me those dates. You have time to look them up. They're in your notes. Go back and watch the lecture videos. Tell me where it happened. You don't just say, in the American colony. No, give me in Virginia. Tell me why this person or event is historically significant. What is its legacy? How does it impact the overall argument of the essay? So when answering these points, you need to be sure to pay particular attention to why it's significant. So you're answering the who, what, where, when, why, and then telling me how it's significant and how it ties to the overall topic of the essay. That's how you connect the bigger ideas. Your essay will be evaluated on the content of each key term and how well you draw connections between the terms in the overall essay question. So do not simply write about each key term in isolation. That'd be short answer. That's just definitions. Think about how they all work to answer the overall larger essay question. Make those connections clear to the reader. In other words, you need to see the forest from the trees. And again, just a hint, like you would use quotes for like the first section assignment 1 or section assignment 3. In this case, instead of using your quotes as your example, the key terms are your examples, which means the first sentence of the body paragraph should not really have the key term in it. It should be a topic sentence. Again, no outside research is necessary. You have your lecture notes, you have your textbook. You should not be providing evidence from the internet. There should not be any direct quotes, really. You should not be quoting the textbook. You should simply be summarizing and synthesizing the information, paraphrasing it from the lecture notes, and answering the questions. Go back and look at the videos. Go back and look at the notes. So let me give an example. This is an example from 1301. And first and foremost, a couple words of wisdom. Number 1, you are required to answer both prompts, which means you need 7 paragraphs for prompt 1, 7 paragraphs for prompt 2, 14 total paragraphs at least. In addition, you cannot submit more than 1 document to turnitin.com. Therefore, put all 14 paragraphs on the same document. Upload 1 document, just put a couple spaces and put a heading that says essay 1 or prompt 1, essay or prompt 2. That's all you have to do. I will be able to figure it out. But don't combine them into one 14-paragraph essay. These are 2 separate prompts, 2 separate topics. So here's an example here. Throughout the 17th century, colonial Virginians, the Chesapeake, and elsewhere faced perpetually a labor problem, finding enough workers to grow and harvest their cash crops. Write an essay that fully explains how Virginians worked throughout the 1600s to resolve the labor problem. So the topic, the theme, is labor problems. As the 1600s progressed, explain when and how the American colonies shifted from societies with few enslaved to societies dominated by enslaved labor. So that's the main question being asked. Then I throw in some follow-up questions for clarification. What were the consequences of this? Both for Chesapeake and Southern colonists, both for Europeans and Africans. What was the result and legacy of this? That's a great thing to answer in your conclusion. You must include these key terms: Opie Cancanou, Anthony Johnson, indentured servants, Georgia, Stoner Rebellion. So you'll need a paragraph on Opie Cancanou. And by the way, fun fact, I put these terms in chronological order. So just keep them in the same order in your body paragraph. Start with Opie Cancanou. Explain to me, as the reader, not only who Opie Cancanou is, what he does, explain his hatred for the Jamestown colonists, but also how does he impact the labor problem? I will tell you from experience, this is something that many students miss. You need to make that connection to Opie Cancanou and the labor problem, the evolving labor solution problem. Likewise, prompt 2. Throughout the 17th and 18th century, did the American colonies grow closer to and more like the mother country, England, or more distant and different? If you think a bit of both, explain in what ways they grew closer and in what ways they grew more apart. So the main topic your thesis needs to resolve around the fact, did they grow closer to or more apart? It can be both. And then says, do you, again, further explanation, further clarification, do you see a period of greater harmony or a particular period of tension? So when did things change? You must include the key terms, Navigation Acts, Middle Passage, First Great Awakening, Stamp Act, and then Thomas Paine / Common Sense. That's one key term in itself. And again, for each key term, you must clearly define it, give me the who, what, where, when, why, but also connect it to that larger topic of, so how did the Navigation Acts themselves impact the relationship between the colonies and England? And remember, each key term itself can say, well, maybe in the beginning the Navigation Acts were good, but maybe later on they begin to show, division for whatever. Tell me the reason. That's why I'm asking for this. Again, this is not something you can put together in 2 hours, but it is something that is totally doable in a week that you have open notes for, and you can go back and watch lecture videos. So again, this is the first, this is a sample prompt here. And again, this is a different question than from the ones before this, but I want to look at this one real quick. Write an essay focusing on the Chesapeake experience. In your essay, you need to explain why the English settled there, who went there, and which native groups were there. That's your context, by the way. What were the expectations of the colonists who arrived? Did it match reality? And then we get the main question here. How did the colonists interact with nearby Native Americans? Do you see the relationship as one of accommodation or conflict? Did they get along, or were they enemies? Or do you see it both? So the first few questions are all about context. So what was going on? Tell me about how they settled in the Chesapeake, why they settled there, what did they see when they got there? And then transition to your thesis statement. Oh, they met with Native Americans and it was one of bloody conflict or one of accommodation or both. You can say it started out as accommodation, but as the numbers grew, became conflict, or it started as conflict, but once they get to know each other, they had a little kumbaya moment and then things changed later. You need that nuance in your thesis statement. And then you can use the key terms, Virginia Company, John Rolfe, Powhatan Confederacy, Opie-Kankano, as your evidence to support either accommodation, getting along, or conflict. So I highlight here, this is your main topic that you need to make your thesis statement the main argument of the essay. So first thing you need is introduction. You need context. This is where I highlight here. Explain why the English settled here. Who went there? Poor people, rich people, middle class, women, children, men? Which native groups were there? Okay. Expectations versus realities. And then we transition to the thesis statement, which is regarding the colonists. So I put together a sample example here in the bottom here. The context. The English were latecomers to the colonial game due to internal issues back in Britain. After 2 failed expeditions to Roanoke in 1589, 1590, the English finally established a colony in Chesapeake at Jamestown in 1607. The expectation and goal was to be like the Spanish and extract gold. However, it quickly became apparent that there was no gold to be found. Instead, the colonists turned to local Native Americans to help, with mixed results. Again, the transition there. Thesis statement there in red. The relationship between the colonists and the local Powhatan Confederacy was decidedly mixed, having periods of both accommodation and conflict, often due to the superior view of the colonists and their ever-present desire for more land. There's a solid introduction. And then you can transition to the key terms of Virginia Company and Opie-Kankano, Powhatan Confederacy, etc. And again, so once you get to the body paragraphs, after you begin your introduction paragraph, you get to the body paragraph, you should have a topic sentence. Let's just say, well, when the Virginia Company was or you start with a topic sentence that says, it started with an aura of superiority by the colonists, but quickly after arrival, the colonists realized they needed to rely on the Native Americans. So you should not start the paragraph with the Virginia Company was founded. No. You start out with elaborating on it with a topic sentence regarding from your thesis statement. So instead, relations with Native Americans started in a negative place because the colony was founded to extract wealth. This was epitomized by the goals of the Virginia Company, whose desire was to, well, get rich and get rich quick using poor laborers. Then give me the dates, give me the trials, the tribulations, give me the details regarding the Virginia Company. This should be making a lot more sense now, and I hope this helps. And again, if I was in class with you right now face-to-face, I would actually have you divided into small groups, and I would have you take about 10 to 15 minutes using your notes and produce 2 quick paragraphs that connect the key terms Virginia Company and John Rolfe. Now, in short, what would happen is with topic sentence for each body paragraph, you would talk about things like the Virginia Company was founded to make money. The original purpose was to get gold. After that failed, the Virginia Company was left failing, throwing more people at a dying colony. And then transition to your second body paragraph, talk about John Rolfe, who not only did he marry Pocahontas, which created some accommodation with Native Americans, but he also developed and found the strain of tobacco that grew really well in 1616. That would, while it would not save the Virginia Company, it would make the colony profitable in the long run. And again, you need more than just that. You need all the pertinent details, but because I'm trying to do this quickly on a video, I'm giving you the quick summation of it. But you take what I just said and you elaborate on it. And then finally, you need a conclusion. You need to, again, restate your argument, offer some kind of legacy that readers can use as a takeaway. And then again, repeat for the second prompt. Because there are 2 essays and each essay is worth 50 points. Now, when I'm evaluating this, I'm going to, number 1, look at each body paragraph. And in my head, I'm going to mark it on a score out of 10. So if you miss it, if you're missing the date, you're going to lose 1 point there. If you're missing something that's important, pertinent detail, like who, what, where, when, why, that's another point off. And then I'm going to add all those points up to determine a score out of 50. And again, according with, you also make it a complete essay, not short answer, connecting the key terms together. That's how I'm evaluating each essay. And in Turnitin.com, I will give you a score out of 50 for each essay, and then add those 2 scores together for your total of 100. Again, some hints. Keep the terms in order. I've put them in chronological order in the prompt. And this is how, for all intent and purposes, they should stay. Now, yes, will points be taken off for excessively bad grammar, for not having specific names, places, and dates? Yes. This is a take-home essay. You have more than a week to do it. I expect it to be something you've proofed at least once, if not 2 or 3 or 4 times. I cannot stress this enough. Use your notes. Use the lecture videos. Do not go to the internet. I have too often seen students mess this up because there are, for instance, more than 1 Treaty of Paris in history. There's more than 1 Great Migration. And gasp, Wikipedia sometimes is wrong. It will happen in this class. I have key terms that I know are wrong on Wikipedia, or incomplete, or that do not connect to the greater idea that I'm asking about. You need to use your lecture notes. This is where you can prove that you understand what we've been talking about in the class thus far. And again, you will repeat this for section assignment 4. Now, I hope this video helps. If you have any questions, of course, reach out to me. I'm here to help you. But good luck. Until next time, take care, and bye-bye.